For the first time in U.S. history, a Speaker of the House has been removed. Kevin McCarthy has been removed as Speaker after a vote led by Matt Gaetz. Following this, the interim Speaker of the House, Speaker pro tempore, removed Nancy Pelosi from her private office, evicting her. And now Troy Nehls, a congressman from Texas, is saying he has nominated Donald Trump to be Speaker, with many Democrats actually entertaining the idea that it could happen. Hannity claiming that the president is open to it. I want to say bravo to Matt Gaetz and the other Republicans who stood firm and pushed back against a corrupt machine. You see, I've explained this in the past several videos, but now that it is said and done, before we get into all the news, I want to stress. In 2020, many people were upset that Joe Biden won, that Republicans didn't maintain Congress, giving this Democrats this absolute control, except for the Supreme Court. Then 2022 came, we got the midterms, and the Republicans won a very narrow majority. And everybody on the left and the corporate Republicans and conservatives blamed Donald Trump, saying, because of Trump, it should have been a red wave. We should have done this, that, or otherwise. I disagree. I think the polling shows that were it not for Trump, there may not even be a majority. The issue is Republicans are behind the curve on election strategy. But the funny thing is, while they're all complaining we should have had a stronger majority, what ends up happening? Kevin McCarthy breaking his word with the Republicans who actually won the majority, says he's not going to work these backroom deals and do this omnibus spending BS, and then does. Cuts a backroom deal with Democrats to basically push off the Republican majority, shove them away. What was the point of winning a majority in 2022 if Kevin McCarthy is just going to negotiate with Democrats instead of the Republicans who won the majority? My friends, with a Speaker McCarthy, you have a Democrat majority. I see all these Republicans. I see, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, many people. I think Chip Roy, all defending McCarthy. I'm not a Republican. I don't care. Look, we've had these individuals on the show. I respect them, but I am not a Republican. What I see here, and a big difference that should be something that needs to be understood by so many of these people, is that when I look to what Matt Gaetz is doing, that more closely represents how I feel about politics than what the Republican Party does. And when Kevin McCarthy says we're going to cut a backroom deal to get funding for Ukraine, I say that's not me. And that's why for a long time I didn't vote. Now what we're seeing is you actually have a faction of Republicans who represent something more closely to me and probably many of you. And Matt Gaetz is standing up for that. So right now they're saying, congratulations, Matt Gaetz. You just gave Democrats control, blah, blah, blah. And my attitude is like, none of us had control in the first place. If the Republican Party is just cutting backroom deals to give Democrats what they want, and when Democrats have power, they're steamrolling Trump supporters, then us, you and I, Matt Gaetz, we aren't even part of the political equation. But now we are. So here's what I see. I see the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, and call it whatever you want, the Freedom Faction. A small group of individuals who are pushing back and using that power to say no. And now we get such wonderful stories like Nancy Pelosi evicted from her private office in the Capitol by interim House Speaker. It's schadenfreude. It's not like this one matters all that much to me, but to see immediately following this, someone took a bit more decisive action. This is Patrick McHenry. He's a big McCarthy ally, and he was McCarthy. The rules state that if McCarthy is to be vacated, there has to be someone who can temporarily hold the position. The only real powers they have, they don't have as strong of powers as the Speaker normally does, and it's typically just there to help find the next Speaker. But he made this move against Pelosi. It's symbolic, but I'll take it. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into all this news, go to timcast.com, click Timcast IRL X Miami. I am honored and proud to say this Friday, in just 2 days, we will be live on stage in Miami with Patrick Bet-David, James O'Keefe, and Matt Gaetz. And I am, look, we've had this event planned for like a year. We've had Matt scheduled for a very, very long time because we're huge fans of the work that he's been doing. And I just want to I want to see you guys there. Matt's going to get like a 20-minute long standing ovation. It's going to be nuts. I think the people who are showing up to this event understand what Matt is doing and why it's the right thing and how they're going to come after him. They're going to investigate him. They're going to lie about him. And they're doing all of these things. They're smearing him. They're saying two things. He's only doing this because McCarthy won't stop these investigations into him. No, they're only investigating him because Matt Gaetz is standing up to the corruption. They're saying he just wants to run for governor. I don't buy any of it. And you know what? Honestly, I don't care. Matt Gaetz did something good. So that being said, tickets have started to sell ridiculously fast. And I don't know exactly if we're going to sell out, but they added, I think this is the ticket sales added going fast because everyone started buying a bunch of tickets. It is an honor and a privilege, Matt, to have you on Friday. And I fully do recognize, and I want to make sure everybody knows this. As of right now, our communications with the team, they fully expect to be at this event. It's long been planned. But Matt is doing such tremendous and important work. In the event he gets held up in D.C. to keep doing this work, I fully expect him to continue doing the good work that he is doing. But I do believe 99% chance, our understanding and everything is good. Matt will be there. And I only bring this up because I can't believe it. I can't believe that we are going to have, at this most perfect moment, Matt Gaetz on stage with us, breaking down what's going on, explaining what happened. This is history. And so it's an honor and a privilege, Matt. Thank you for coming and for doing this event with us. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And we're going to have a lot of other guests there. Luke Rutkowski's there. Like I mentioned, hey, don't get Patrick Bet-David and James O'Keefe. This is going to be epic. Absolutely epic. Take a look at this story from the New York Post, and let's start breaking down where we're currently at. This is, I guess, the most immediate news because y'all probably already heard that Kevin McCarthy's removed. First time in U.S. history. Amazing. If we can't get an impeachment, at least we can get that. I love the Democrats are being given a victory. I don't care. I'm happy that we found some bipartisan support. How about that? It was a bipartisan effort, right? You spiked the Republican Party. Ain't my Republican Party, and I don't care. I'm not a Republican. I don't like Republicans. Now, in the immediate, we get this joyous little cherry on top. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was ordered to immediately vacate her Capitol hideaway office by Wednesday as she slammed acting Speaker Patrick McHenry's decision as a sharp departure from tradition. Oh, you're going to cry about it? An email sent to Pelosi's office on Tuesday said the room will be rekeyed and reassigned for speaker use. Man, I love it. Look, I don't know enough about McHenry or what his plans are. He's in there temporarily, but I can just say whatever his intentions or plans are, at least he gave us this tiny morsel. And it's thanks to the efforts of Matt Gaetz and the 7 other Republicans. The move came just hours after McHenry was named House Speaker pro tempore following the ouster of Kevin McCarthy in a historic vote Tuesday. With all of the important decisions that the new Republican leadership must address, which we are all eagerly awaiting, one of the first actions taken by the new Speaker pro tempore was to order me to immediately vacate my office in the Capitol, Pelosi said in a statement referring to McHenry. Pelosi had 2 separate stints as Speaker. Yes, we know. The eviction is a sharp departure from tradition. As Speaker, I gave former Speaker Dennis Hastert a significantly larger suite of offices for as long as he wished. Pelosi said she is in California, where she is mourning the death of Senator Dianne Feinstein and is unable to retrieve her belongings from the office. Cold. Cold, but I'm sorry, everybody. I can't help but feel so good about something like this. I just can't. And I understand, kind of a dick move. Pelosi needs to be able to get her stuff. It's like, but I gotta be honest. Patrick McHenry just pulled a thug life move, evicting Pelosi while she is out of town at a funeral. That was, wow. That was as disrespectful as you could be. And my friends, I do not believe Pelosi is deserving of respect. Feinstein died Friday, this we know. Her body will be moved, we get it. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries' staffers helped clean out Pelosi's office late Tuesday, the outlet reported. I'm actually surprised they did. I'm surprised they didn't do some stupid sit-in or something. A television and bags were seen outside the office before they were hauled away. Office space doesn't matter to me, but it seems to be important to them, Pelosi added. Oh, is that why you issued a statement saying, how dare you? You should take my office away. Now that was strangely an Irish old man accent I was doing for Pelosi. Now that the new Republican leadership has settled this important matter, let's hope they get to work on what truly is important for the American people. Yes. How about we talk about funding first and foremost for the troops, right? The American troops, not the Ukrainian ones. Hey, I dig it. I don't know if anything good will come of all of this, except I think it is good that there's been a rebuke of the GOP corporate establishment and of the Democrats all in one fell swoop. Now the Republicans are saying, oh, you've given this to Democrats. And I'm like, booting Nancy Pelosi was a sign of disrespect, deserving and becoming of who she is and what she represents. It is what it is. It's symbolic and it's emotional, but I think it matters. I think it shows that the old powers are being stripped. Now, again, I'm not super familiar with Patrick McHenry. I don't know where he goes with this. They say he's an ally of McCarthy, but McCarthy getting the boot and Pelosi getting the boot from her office is a statement of the old guard no more. Does it mean we've won? No. Does it mean that this actually improves? I don't know. What I can tell you is Matt Gaetz, even if you want to call this obstruction of what Matt Gaetz is doing, obstruction is better than Republicans working secret backroom deals with Democrats. Here's the game plan. Here's the game, right? I'm not a Republican. I don't like Republicans. I don't vote Republican until 2020. Then I said, okay, fine. Trump's second term agenda. And I think we want to see these members of Congress and the Republican Party win because there are certain things we care about in the culture war. I am not a traditional Republican. I am not pro-life. I'm certainly not pro-abortion. I fall in that weird limbo space of where Democrats kind of used to be 15, 20 years ago. But so Republicans essentially negotiate a peace deal with moderates, former Democrats, former liberals, or post-liberals, whatever you want to call it. Stephen Crowder had a conversation with me about abortion. I said, I'm more pro-choice. And he said something to the effect of like, would you agree with certain limitations like 6 to 12 weeks and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I agree with those. Okay, great. We found compromise. Let's do it. This is what happens. Many post-liberals, moderate, centrist, left-leaning or whatever, hear this negotiation from the anti-establishment wing of the Republican Party. And the Republican Party is all about it. And they say to people like me, lend us your support. I see Matt Gaetz fighting against Kevin McCarthy for speakership, saying we want guarantees and protections. And I said, that's what I want to hear. Because it's me and it's you, right? Many of us who are moderate, right-leaning, left-leaning, not always, super on one side, not tribalist to an extreme degree, very anti-establishment, very anti-woke. And they're trying to convince us to support the machine. I know that many of you who watch, I've spoken with many of you, were more in the camp of I'm not voting, screw this, I'm out. I know that when I went to Trump rallies in 2015 and 16, people said, I've never voted before. The machine doesn't represent me. Now, finally, there is something happening that feels like we are getting a chance. So again, what I see is the Republicans are corrupt, the Democrats are corrupt, and Matt Gaetz more so represents us, the regular, moderate, normal person in this country, which is, in my opinion, the majority. Congress's approval rating is 17%. And you've got the likes of Thomas Massie and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert defending McCarthy. I like those individuals. I do. But I don't understand this argument that we are going to defend a corrupt institution that 82% of Americans say they disapprove of. I'd say at this point, what's the point of it? Rubber stamping bills in Congress? Marjorie Taylor Greene's the one who told us about that. Nah, not interested. Have a nice day. We have this tweet from Lauren Chen, masterfully trolling everybody who doesn't read a single tweet more than a single sentence. She tweeted, "Are you happy now, Gaetz? Now you'll have Democrats in charge who failed to secure the border, who funnel money to Ukraine, throw Trump under the bus, and fail to hold Biden accountable for his corruption, instead of Kevin McCarthy, who also does all of those exact same things." I love, and then Lauren says, "This post is an IQ and attention span test wrapped in one." I love how many people did not read the last line of what Lauren Chen wrote. She's making the same point that I made, but she's trolling rather masterfully. The point is that with Kevin McCarthy running backroom deals, you may as well have Democrats in charge. There's no majority here. And so many people were like, no, Matt Gaetz did good. No. And it's like, did you read it? I think she nailed it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick McHenry. So this is the dude who is he is Speaker pro tempore, the congressman temporarily leading the House, the man who has ousted Nancy Pelosi. Tremendous respect here. And this is where we are currently at. Now, many people are asking, what comes next? How about Republican congressman to nominate Trump for House Speaker? Troy Nails from Texas calls Trump the greatest president of my lifetime and says he will nominate him to replace Kevin McCarthy. I would like to clap and shout out to Matt Gaetz for standing firm in the face of all of this hatred, standing up for what you believe in. They're trying to make the argument that Matt Gaetz is only doing this because he's under investigation, which I call BS. I think they're investigating him because he's standing up to them. Because if Matt Gaetz really was concerned about being investigated, he would play ball. He would say, I will steer the MAGA Republican types and the Freedom Caucus people. I will steer them and negotiate on your behalf if you lay off. And I wonder how many members of Congress have decided to side with McCarthy because they have no spine, because they much prefer to play ball because they're scared of what comes next. Yeah, they've accused Matt of some of the most egregious, insane things that turn out to be all fake, all false, blackmail and otherwise. And he has stood firm. I don't think this is him desperately trying to get out of an investigation. That makes literally no sense. They're making these arguments to besmirch his good name. That's what they do. Look at Julian Assange. Your game doesn't work anymore, you scumbags. 10 years ago, they claimed Julian Assange assaulted a woman. Lies. Absolute lies. Abject evil. And he has been locked up ever since. And he shouldn't be. This is the game they play. You fall out of line, they lie about you. They run your name through the mud and they try and destroy you. Look what they're doing to Donald Trump. But we don't buy it anymore. I don't buy it. You're stupid. I am callous to your stupid and pathetic smears. You scream racist. Don't care. You scream white supremacist. You're lying. I don't believe you. You accuse Matt Gaetz, Donald Trump, anybody of wrongdoing, whatever. I just don't care anymore. You know why? Because Matt and Trump are both now representing the human Molotov cocktail being thrown into a system of corruption, greed, malice, and evil. And this argument that, Kevin McCarthy, but we're getting, small things here and there. No, we weren't. For decades now, we've been on this omnibus garbage. And the American people have complained. This idea that you're going to wheel in 5,000 pages. And it's funny that you get so many of these Republicans being like, it is wrong. We shouldn't do spending this way. And then none of them are willing to stand up to McCarthy, who was running backroom deals. Will Donald Trump be speaker? Well, I got to be honest. Last night we talked about it. We had Laura Trump on Timcast IRL. And I was saying, I don't think Trump takes it. He's running for president. Why would he be speaker? Well, apparently, we have this from the Daily Beast. Sean Hannity, who remains close with Trump, claimed he's been told the former president is open to the idea. Well, okay. Perhaps this is something that could actually happen. I doubt it. You would need all the Republicans to vote for Donald Trump as speaker, but it would be the greatest thing ever. And I wish. I don't know who I have to pray to. Is it just the singular one Abrahamic God, or is it the pantheon? Or must I wish upon a star to get Donald Trump to be Speaker of the House? It would be the greatest thing ever. And the Democrats are all like, yeah, we want to see Trump standing behind Joe Biden as he gives the State of the Union, and as if it's an insult. And I'm like, I don't care. I want Speaker Donald Trump, third in line for the presidency. And, at first I thought Trump would not do it. But when I saw this article, I thought maybe there's something I'm missing, and maybe there are some reasons Trump might actually do it. And yeah, maybe it's pertaining to the investigations and the trials and everything against him. As Speaker of the House, he would have a bit more power, and it could really jam up the sham investigations and fraud charges laid against him. In New York, we're now learning that the overwhelming majority of claims made against Trump and the Trump Organization are beyond the statute of limitations, even if they were true. Lies, smears, slander, and politics. So let's do this. Let's nominate a Speaker Donald Trump. I implore Donald Trump to accept the nomination. And I implore all members of Congress to accept a Speaker Donald Trump, because who else is going to do it? You got an interim speaker. Ben Shapiro he posted the Homer Simpson meme. It said something like, "Who wants to be Speaker of the House?" And then it said House Republicans, and it's Homer Simpson disappearing back into the bush. Nope. Who's going to want to do that job? Now here's what I'll tell you. I understand. It is not an easy job. It's not. But Congress's approval rating is 17%, according to Gallup, as of September 23rd. 17%. What did Kevin McCarthy think was going to happen when he cut backroom deals and now he's trying to smear Matt Gaetz? This ain't how you do it, man. It's not. And, you know, I've talked to a lot of people. We know a lot of people in D.C. We know a lot of people in politics, and they're all saying things like, you know, Kevin's a really good guy, and like, I know he's trying, but this and that. I'm like, dude, Kevin McCarthy knew when he was trying to be speaker, because it was his turn. He was trying to move in. He moved into the speaker's office before he even won the vote. The game is this. The deal is this. You have to work with us. And if you can't do that, you cannot be speaker. So you know what Kevin McCarthy did? He said, I stake my word on your votes that I will abide by the terms of our agreement. And then as soon as they turned around and walked away, he smirked and said, what a bunch of morons. If Kevin McCarthy knew he would not be able to push back spending and there would be a government shutdown and all this stuff, he should have said, I can't take the job, guys. It's not for me. I'll tell you what I do. If I'm looking at 400 plus members who are all corporate neo-party or whatever, and a handful who are not, but those 8 to 11 Republicans are looking at me saying, we will remove you as speaker because there's no majority without us. I say, okay, we're in an interesting position. A slim minority of Republicans have tremendous power in opposition to the rest of the party because the rest of the party marches in lockstep. Okay, then we're going to have to negotiate, and these people hold more power than most other members of Congress. If you cannot, that's what I'd say. I'd say, okay, what you're asking for, I will not be able to do. So I will not be speaker. But you know what the thing is? Too many people like Pelosi, like McCarthy, like Hillary Clinton, these establishment political pieces of trash are like, it's my turn now. So McCarthy's attitude, it would seem, is, you know what? I'll just lie to, I'll lie to these guys. I'll lie to them and I'll get what I want. And then he gets removed. And what does he do? He lies again. I love it. I love seeing all these Republicans being like, Matt Gaetz, you betrayed us, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, whatever, man. All of my life, and especially in the past several years, I see a Congress that does not work for the American people. I see an executive branch that actually harms the American people. I see Congress, according to all the data, you know what? Your opinion doesn't matter, they say. This is what they're really mad about. There was a survey done that found public polling, the opinions of the American people have no bearing whatsoever on Congress. Now, to a certain degree, I accept that. It's a good thing. Why? I always talk about this, that the average person, it is not their job to be in politics and news all day, every day. And if you're like a tradesman or something, then the purpose of a constitutional republic is you appoint a representative to represent your values. And then I get people saying, Tim, I do trades and I know politics. Stop scapegoating. I am not saying you are stupid. I am saying, yo, as a tradesman, your job is not in Congress, right? This is what I'm saying. If you're a plumber and you want your voice heard, you speak up, you speak to your representatives. If you feel that they are not representing your values properly, then you run for office and you are allowed to. The point I'm making is, if you would prefer to maintain your job as a plumber or carpenter, electrician, coffee bar owner, barista, or whatever, construction worker, then you vote for someone else because you're busy at work. You are not working in D.C. Right? Get it? That's the point of a constitutional republic. This means you expect the person you send down there, within reason, to not actually agree with everything you say, just to be the best representing the values of your community. And they do to a certain degree. But we find through public polling that it's the opinions of the elite, the oligarchs, the massive multinational corporations that have the biggest bearing on whether or not bills get passed. You know why? Fundraising. Kevin McCarthy plays that game. He controls funding with the Republican Party. And so all these members of Congress are like, if I defy McCarthy, I'm not going to get funding for re-election. I have to play ball. Ooh, cry about it. You don't deserve to be in Congress. Kevin McCarthy does not deserve to control this. This two-party system is busted. I don't mind the two-party system as it pertains to the presidency for the most part, except for the private rules to keep people off the primaries, like what they're doing to RFK Jr. So it is broken. But in this instance, the idea that a political elite behind closed doors with corporate lobbying money and backroom deals is going to control who's in Congress is despicable. And it brings me endless joy to see all of this. And so, this Friday, it is an honor and a privilege that I will be able to grace the stage with Matt Gaetz, because for once, I feel like someone is finally standing up for me, for you, for regular Americans, for the 82% who don't like what's going on. And I tell you this, Democrats in Congress, their motivations are not pure, but at least Democrats voting to remove McCarthy is more in line with the sentiment of the American people who despise and disapprove of what Congress does. In the end, if Democrats were to get their choice, you're not going to be happy either. But the vote to remove McCarthy was probably the most popular thing Congress has done in a very, very long time. So we'll see. I would love to see a Trump speaker. They're probably going to have to pull someone from the outside because nobody's going to want to do it. You don't need to be a member of Congress to be speaker. And so there has been talk about someone like Justin Amash, and that's a bad idea. Republicans nominating and voting for someone who is going to negotiate with Democrats is McCarthy all over again. All Matt Gaetz and his crew have to do now is hold the line and prevent any one of these individuals from getting power. In fact, it really is. It's going to have to be Democrats cutting a deal with Republicans. That's the fear. The fear with ousting McCarthy and what they were essentially trying to blackmail all of us and Matt Gaetz with was, if you oust McCarthy, Democrats will go to the rest of the Republican Party, the 213 or however many it was, and they're going to say, we will give you the 10 votes you need if you bring in someone like Amash or some more moderate, favorable McCarthy-type individual. And that's a problem. But for now, all I can tell you, it's history, and I'm happy about it. You know, a lot of people might say, now there's going to be more damage. You know, look, man, I just got to use the poker reference. Sometimes you bluff. You know what I mean? I don't think this is a bluff. I think it's a power move, and I think it's the right thing to do. But you may lose the hand. Sometimes you're playing poker and you know you're beat, but you don't think the other player has the balls to make the big move. So you bet all your money. You go all in and say, call me out. And they won't do it. They won't do it because they are more scared of what's going to happen when you flip over those cards than you are. Or at the very least, you're saying, I'm willing to take a risk that you are not. Matt Gaetz has shown that he is willing to withstand massive pressure and take tremendous risk to his safety, to his life and his good name for something greater. None of these people have the balls to stand up to that. And so they may try and play dirty games, but I think in the end, they're going to have to defer to someone like Gaetz because he's shown real leadership. I'll leave it there. Massive props. It is, you know, I said this several months ago. I told Matt this too. On the show, I said he's my favorite member of Congress, and that's not saying a lot, to be honest, because I don't like members of Congress. But the fact that you got me liking a member of Congress, wow, that's a handful I like. Don't get me wrong. But this move here is one of the most significant and important things we've seen in American politics in generations. The move to end the omnibus spending was incredible, and now the move to remove McCarthy is bravery and it is integrity, and I am all for it. So thank you to Matt Gaetz, man. I'm not even talking about policy. I'm just saying this move right here. Maybe we'll debate and have disagreements on policy issues. Absolutely, probably will. But I'm glad someone's finally standing up to the machine. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.